the darkness between the stars. The galaxy was vast, and much of it was filled with shadows, places where light did not reach, where ships vanished and monsters waited. The aliens called it the Black Belt, a region no one dared to cross. Many feared what lived in the dark. Even advanced races avoided it. Only fools entered, and none came back. For years, whispers spread across space about the humans, strange beings from a far-off blue planet. Small, weak, fragile, and above all, they feared the dark. Or so the stories said. The alien species known as the Trelawney ruled many systems near the Black Belt. Their leaders laughed when they heard humans were moving into that sector. They believed humans would run back to their bright, safe colonies. They believed humans could never survive the cold dark. They were wrong. Captain Marek of the Trelawney Warfleet watched from his command seat as a human cargo ship drifted near the edge of the belt. It had no escort, no weapons visible. It floated quietly like a piece of trash. "They truly are fools," Marek said. "They send unarmed ships into death." He ordered one of his patrol ships to capture the human vessel. As the patrol ship moved in, its signal vanished. Then the second ship was sent. Same result. Gone. The Trelawney command began to panic. Something was in the dark. Something unseen. Something fast. They tried to scan the shadows. Nothing. The third ship they sent returned, damaged, barely, alive. The pilot was shaking. "We didn't see them," he said, until it was too late. They came out of the dark like ghosts. Their ships, they had no lights, no sound, just death. At first, the Trelawney thought the pilot had lost his mind. But Marek knew better. "They are hiding in the darkness," he muttered. "They do not fear it. They use it." Back on Earth, the plan had worked. The human fleet had learned to fight in the shadows. No lights, no signals, just silent, dark ships, fast and deadly. They called themselves the Void Wing. Led by Commander Rafe, a man born in the underground cities of old Earth, the Void Wing was trained to live and fight without light. He believed the greatest strength was not in blinding firepower, but in silence, shadows, and surprise. The Black Belt was now their home, and they would turn the fear of darkness against their enemies. The next move was already planned. While the Trelawney tried to scan the darkness, humanity's hidden fleet moved closer. The trap was ready. Marek stood in his war room, trying to understand what was happening. They feared the dark. Why are they stronger in it? But he was too late. Across the screen, human ships suddenly lit up behind the Trelawney fleet. Not in front. Behind. They were always there. "One of the alien officers," said, voice shaking. "We didn't see them until they wanted to be seen. Then the human attack began. Blinding flashes, silent missiles, and ships, dark as the void, tearing through the Trelawney lines like shadows given form. Void Wing strikes. 770 words. Third person, simple English. No complex names. The Trelawney fleet was caught off guard. One moment space was quiet. Then came fire from behind. Blasts cut through the ships like blades. No warning, no signals. Just fast, silent death. Marek shouted orders. "Turn the fleet! Face the enemy!" But the darkness made it hard to track anything. The human ships were not glowing like normal ones. They were black, built to blend with the shadows. By the time the alien sensors picked them up, it was too late. The Trelawney flagship shook as an explosion rocked its side. "Where are they?" Marek demanded. "They're everywhere," said his second officer, voice full of fear. "They're using the shadows. They're inside the belt. No lights, no signals. We can't lock onto them." The human commander, Rafe, sat quietly in the command chair of his lead ship, Silent Blade. Around him, his team moved without speaking. Hand signals, screen taps, no noise, they didn't need it. "Target the power cores," Rafe signaled. "Make it quick, clean." The Void Wing moved like hunters. They didn't waste time, no warnings, no taunts. Each shot was aimed, each missile silent, each blast meant to kill fast. They had trained in dark tunnels in old Earth mines in frozen moons where light didn't reach. Their minds were sharp. Their fear of the dark had been burned out long ago. Now they used it as a weapon. Back in the Trelawney fleet, panic was spreading. Many ships tried to retreat, but they crashed into each other in the dark. Others tried to fight back, firing wildly into the shadows. But the humans didn't stay in one place. They moved between debris, used the planet's shadows, and vanished like mist. "They're ghosts," cried a Trelawney pilot over comms. "No," said Merrick, grimly. "They're hunters and we're the prey." He knew they had underestimated the humans. They thought humans were weak, afraid, dependent on light. But this was war in a way that Trelawney had never faced. Suddenly, the human fleet stopped firing. A strange silence fell across the battlefield. The smoke drifted. Wrecked ships floated. Engines burned out. Then, across all Trelawney channels, a message appeared. No voice, just words. "We do not fear the dark. We became it." Merrick stared at the screen. His hands trembled. This is not war," he whispered. "This is a lesson." Half his fleet was gone. The rest were scattered. Communications were broken. They couldn't even see what remained. Rafe watched from his screen as the alien ships powered down, one by one. He gave no order to finish them off. No need. They had made their point. Back at the edge of the Black Belt, a single Trelawney scout ship watched from afar. It hadn't joined the battle, but it had recorded everything. The silence, the attack, the human ships, moving without light, without mercy. That scout ship turned back. It carried one message to the Trelawney Council. The humans have embraced the void. They do not fear the dark. The dark fears them. The fear begins to spread. 770 words. Third-person simple English. No complex names. The Trelawney scout ship reached the capital system 2 days later. It sent its message directly to the High Council. The video showed broken ships drifting in silence, explosions without warning, human vessels moving like shadows. There was no sound, just the haunting message. "We do not fear the dark. We became it." The council chamber fell silent. One of the elder ministers leaned forward. "Is this a trick? Computer ghosts?" "No," the admiral replied. "This is real. We lost a full strike fleet, no survivors. The humans didn't just attack. They used the darkness as part of their strategy. They made it a weapon." Whispers spread across the room. Some ministers looked uneasy. Others tried to stay calm, but fear had already taken root. The admiral continued. "We believed humans were light-bound. We assumed they were helpless without sun, heat, or sight. But in the dark, they become something else." A younger minister stood. "Then we must strike back, burn their ships, light up the shadows, crush this void wing." Another laughed bitterly. "You did not see the recordings. We tried. Light doesn't matter when you're already surrounded, when your enemy is the dark." The Trelawney Council began emergency meetings. They pulled fleets back from the Black Belt. Patrols were doubled. Scanners were upgraded. But the fear was already out. Other alien species heard the rumors, the Yarnak, the Thor, the Elvani. All once proud. All now uncertain. Stories moved faster than ships. Stations in deep space went silent. Cargo lines were rerouted. Even pirate groups vanished after entering the shadows. In one outer colony, a mining ship called for help. They said they heard tapping on the hull, whispers in the comms, shapes moving in the void. When rescue arrived, there was nothing left, only the ship's log repeating on a loop. "We thought they were afraid, but they are the darkness." Back on Earth, Commander Rafe stood before the Defense Council. "We now control most of the Black Belt. Our methods work. The Trelawney are shaken. Others are afraid. But they will return." One of the Earth generals leaned forward. You've shown them fear. But what happens when they send a full war armada? One that lights up every shadow? Rafe smiled. Then we turn off our lights. We wait. We strike deeper. He pointed at the galactic map. Fear moves faster than light. We've already won half this war without firing a shot. Now we spread. The silence. Back in Trelawney space, a transport ship floated toward a supply station. It had gone off course, its signals faint. The station tried to make contact. No reply. They sent a team. Inside, the transport was dark. Too dark. The lights were cut. The crew missing. Only one message remained, scratched into the control panel with something sharp. You taught us to fear the night. Now it belongs to us. The station commander ordered full lockdown. But it was already too late. The fear had already crept in. The human void wing hadn't just fought a battle. They had planted a seed, and in the quiet corners of the galaxy, it was beginning to grow. The trap they never saw. 770 words. Third person, simple English. No complex names. Weeks passed. The Trelawney fleet avoided the black belt, but fear made it worse. Every small sound, every sensor glitch, every unexplained shadow. They thought it was the void wing. Supply lines broke down. Officers lost sleep. Entire patrol crews refused to leave dock. The fear of the dark had become a weapon sharper than any blade. In response, the Trelawney High Council formed Operation Torchlight, a mission to light up the shadows. Hundreds of drones were built, each loaded with powerful lights and scanners. They sent a full battle group with them, led by Commander Valar, one of the Trelawney's most fearless leaders. Valar didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in power. We will show these humans they can't hide forever, he told his crew. Light will burn away the shadows they crawl in. The fleet entered the edge of the black belt. Drones scattered in every direction, bright as suns. Beams of white light swept across space. The Trelawney ships followed closely behind, weapons charged, but they found nothing. No ships, no wreckage, just silence. Then, one of the light drones flickered, then another. One by one they blinked out, fast, random, unexplainable. Report, Valar barked. His officers scrambled for answers. No enemy signals, the drones are just going dark. Valar narrowed his eyes. They're here. He was right. High above the Trelawney fleet, hidden behind a large asteroid, the Void Wing was waiting. Commander Rafe sat in the dark. Hold position, he said quietly. Let the fear grow. The Void Wing's plan was simple. Don't strike right away. Let the Trelawney walk deeper into the trap. Let them panic. Let them shine their lights everywhere. Until their own systems failed from overload. And it worked. As more drones vanished, confusion spread. Ships began circling. Some fired blindly into the black. Others sent distress calls. One ship's engines shut down from stress. Another crashed into a nearby asteroid, trying to flee something that wasn't there. Finally, Valar gave the order. Turn around. Pull back to the edge. That was the signal. The human ships moved. They came from below where the lights had not reached. Dark hulls. Silent drives. No warnings. The first Trelawney ship exploded before anyone realized it had been hit. Then another. Missiles struck from invisible launchers. Boarding pods hit hulls with silent force. The Trelawney fleet tried to respond, but their scanners were filled with false data. Some ships even targeted their own drones. On Valar's ship, alarms screamed. They're inside the formation. Where did they come from? They're behind us. No, under us. Valar's eyes widened. They're using the light, our own light, to hide behind it. It was true. The Void Wing had studied every light drone's path, every sweep, every blind spot. They had hidden in the places the Trelawney thought were safe, places no one would check twice. One by one, Trelawney ships were destroyed or disabled. Fires spread. Systems failed. Then, Rafe gave the final command. Turn on the lights. One by one, the human ships lit up. For the first time, the Trelawney saw them fully. Sleek, dark vessels shaped like blades with no markings, no colors, no wasted parts. Each one silent and deadly. Then came the voice, deep, calm, and slow, broadcast to every Trelawney ship. You searched the dark for us, but it was never empty. We were always there. Valar stood still. His bridge was in chaos. They were never afraid, he whispered. We were. His ship shuddered as the lights flickered. Then everything went dark. The darkness that watches back. 770 words. Third person. Simple English. No complex names. The wreckage of Operation Torchlight floated silently in the dark. Only 3 ships escaped. The rest were destroyed, boarded, or simply vanished without a trace. The Trelawney Council was stunned. They had sent their best ships, their bravest commander, their brightest lights, and it had changed nothing. They knew our every move, said the surviving officer. It was like they were watching us the whole time, even before we arrived. The truth was even worse. The humans had planted beacons along the Black Belt weeks before the battle. Small, hidden devices that sent silent signals. They mapped everything: fleet movement, drone patterns, even the shape of shadows. The Trelawney had walked into their own light, blinded by it. Now fear turned into paranoia. High-ranking officials refused to travel at night. Guards lit their homes with triple-strength lights. Officers shot at shadows. Rumors spread that human agents walked among them. But Earth was not celebrating yet. Commander Rafe stood before Earth's Defense Council again. His face was calm, but his voice was firm. We've shown them fear, he said. But they will regroup. They will try again. A general asked, and what will we do? Rafe looked at the star map. We make the darkness ours, every corner of it. He launched Project Eclipse, a plan to take full control of the Black E. Belt not just as a war zone, but as a permanent shield around human space. They placed stealth satellites, created hidden supply routes, trained new pilots in complete blackout missions. It wasn't about hiding anymore. It was about control. Back in Trelawney space, fear turned into silence. No one wanted to speak of the humans. Children whispered about dark ships with glowing eyes. Soldiers left the Navy. Drones refused missions into the belt. One outer colony tried to prove they were brave. They lit every structure, every field, every hallway. They kept lights on for 50 days straight. Then on the 51st day, the power grid failed. Only for 7 minutes. Just 7 minutes. When it came back, the control tower had one message carved into the wall. You cannot run from the dark, it lives behind your eyes. The colony was abandoned the next day. Meanwhile, in the shadows of a dead moon, the Void Wing trained harder. New soldiers arrived. Pilots learned to feel their ships rather than see them. They practiced blind. They moved in silence. One pilot asked, "Why do we always fight in the dark?" Rafe answered, "Because they taught us to fear it. But we learned it's where no one sees your weakness, no one sees your fear, and we made that our strength." The humans didn't just fight in darkness anymore. They became it. They didn't speak in battle. No slogans, no songs, just results. Where they went, silence followed. Where they left, fear remained. The Trelawney Council held one last desperate meeting. They called it the Night Circle. Every light in the chamber was on. But even then, some members kept glancing behind them. One elder stood and said, "We have tried to fight them with light. We failed. We tried to scare them with numbers. We failed. What now?" No one answered, because deep down they already knew. This was no longer a war about ships or weapons. It was a war of minds, and the humans were winning it. Voices in the void. 770 words. Third person. Simple English. No complex names. The stars were quiet now. No Trelawney ships dared to patrol near the Black Belt. Their cargo lanes shifted. Colonies went dark, not from attack, but from fear. Entire planets dimmed their lights to avoid being noticed. But the humans noticed anyway. Commander Rafe watched from a command post hidden on a moon with no name. The stars outside flickered faintly, but he didn't look at them. He focused on Patterns, enemy movements, colony signals, power drain reports. See this? He said to his second-in-command, a woman named Lyra. They don't even scan anymore. They don't want to see us coming. Lyra nodded. It's working. Fear is stronger than fire. Far away on a Trelawney colony called Varnus, a group of workers disappeared. The city lights had flickered during a storm. Just 10 minutes of darkness. But 10 people never came back. No sounds, no blood, only a strange mark burned into a wall near the colony's edge. A symbol that no one recognized, except the humans. Back on Earth, the Defense Council studied the mark. It was an old Earth design, an ancient symbol for silence. Rafe confirmed it. We're not just winning battles anymore, he said. We're writing our name in their nightmares. Some on Earth feared they were going too far, that the Void Wing was becoming more shadow than soldier, but most approved. The galaxy had mocked humans. Now they whispered their name in fear. And yet something changed. One day, a message came through an old relay station deep in the belt. It was not from Earth. Not from the Trelawney. It was from a third species. One thought to be neutral. The message was simple. What do the humans want? Rafe read it twice. They're afraid, he said. Not just the Trelawney, the others too. He sent no reply. Instead, the Void Wing launched a new wave of silent missions. No attacks, just appearances. A dark ship spotted near a power station, a flicker seen above a peaceful world, static on an old signal line. No damage, no demands, just presence. The effect was powerful. Some races shut down stations near human space. Others began peace talks, without waiting for war. Back in Trelawney space, panic turned to desperation. The Council tried one last move. Operation Beacon. They built a fake distress signal and sent it into the belt. A cry for help from a lost civilian ship, hoping the humans would come, hoping to trap one. But they were not the only ones watching. The Void Wing saw the trick. Rafe smiled. Let's answer it. They sent a small ship. One pilot, one mission. Not to fight, but to speak. It drifted into the trap zone slowly. Lights off. Engines cold, as if it were broken. The Trelawney fleet waited. Weapons ready. Then the human ship sent a single message. We came to help. You came to hunt. Now learn why the darkness is ours. Before the Trelawney could fire, all their ships lost power. Instantly. Systems shut down. Lights went out. Weapons stopped. Gravity failed. Panic spread. For 5 full minutes, the fleet floated helpless in the void. When power returned, the human ship was gone. But written on every Trelawney ship's main screen were the same 6 words. We were born in the dark. The Daylight Reckoning. 770 words. Third person, simple English, no complex names. The galaxy had changed. Once humans were seen as newcomers, weak, light-bound, afraid of the unknown. Now they were something else. Something that moved without being seen. Spoke without sound. Fought without warning. The name Void Wing was now spoken like a curse. Even the bravest alien captains refused to enter the Black Belt. And yet, the humans never claimed land, never raised flags, never demanded tribute. They only left messages. Words carved into steel. Symbols burned into ship hulls. Silence followed wherever they went. The Trelawney High Council, broken and scattered, met one final time. Only half of them remained. The others had fled or gone mad. We must speak to them, one minister said. Speak to ghosts? Another replied. What do you say to the darkness that stares back? An old voice, once proud, whispered. We mocked them. We thought they feared the void. But now, we live in fear of it. Back on Earth, Commander Rafe stood in a room lit only by the stars. Around him were new officers. Young, alert, quiet. The next generation of the Void Wing. He gave them one message. The galaxy thought light was safety. We showed them light can blind, but the dark reveals truth. The Human Council offered Rafe a medal. He refused it. They offered him a holiday in his name. He denied it. He simply returned to the shadows, because he knew the war wasn't truly over. Fear kept enemies back, but peace required something more. So the Voidwing made one final move. A single human ship entered Trelawney space. It sent no threats, fired no shots. It simply hovered in orbit over the Trelawney capital and dropped a capsule. Inside was a short message. We were never your enemy. We only became what you feared, because you made us fight in your darkness. And under that message, one final line: we do not seek war, but we will never fear it again. The Trelawney stared at the message for a long time. There were no bombs, no virus, no trick, just truth. In the following months, borders shifted, patrols thinned, races that once prepared for war now trained for silence. Some even asked Earth for guidance, and Earth, once ignored, once mocked, was now a quiet superpower, not because of size, not because of firepower, but because it owned the one thing the others had forgotten how to face: the dark. And so, across the stars, when ships vanished, or when shadows seemed too still, aliens whispered to each other, "Careful, the humans are watching." And in that quiet fear, peace began, not from treaties, not from deals, but from a galaxy that finally understood humanity did not fear the dark, because they became it.